Let's kick off today's deep dive discussion on leveraging data to get the right customers with some insight and experience sharing from David Moore, who comes to us today from Pella Windows and Doors, Dallas, Fort Worth. Leading our discussion today is Chris Rice, who joins us from Improve It 360. Chris is a longtime data wizard of the home improvement industry with over 20 years of helping contractors streamline processes and increase sales. He takes a highly consultative approach to the consultations that he gives with his home improvement. Sorry, lost train of thought. And speaking of success is David, who despite the challenges this past year of COVID-19 and amidst the current supply chain shortages and pricing influx we are currently seeing, David has found tremendous success in building value of his company and growing his clientele, especially by utilizing and leveraging the data around him. And with that, welcome, gentlemen. Chris, the stage is all yours.
Thanks, Liz. Appreciate it. Thanks for everyone. Thanks for attending today. We're really excited to be here. David and I have decided to forego video, and just as a quick, reason why. I mean, we were actually chatting, during the warm up here and talking about our Love of 38 special. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of our demographics. So, we're trying to save you guys all by going without video, and we'll stick to the audio here. So, thank you, Liz. Really excited to be here and be here with David. David, we've known each other for, it's been about a year and a half now, or 2 years almost since we started talking, correct?
It's correct.
All right. So yeah, really excited. And it's funny, when we started having this planning for this session, and asked David to join us, I think we had our first training session. I think the team was even a little taken back, like, we just started rolling. And that's what we want to do today. Really just have a conversation, and I'm going to let David to give a little bit of background about his business, how they're structured, how they're set up, and then we're going to get into some of the questions more around, the data, finding the right customers, but really here to answer questions too. We want to make this as interactive. It's a little bit of a different model than many of the webinars. I almost feel like we're doing a podcast here, David. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like.
It does have that feel.
All right. So, so first, Dave, let's just start with, just tell us a little bit about your business, how you're structured at Pella DFW. So give us a very high level overview here.
Chris, I'd be happy to. So we are a Pella window and door sales branch, part of the North American network for Pella Corporation. We are based here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Our territory is basically the top half of Texas. So we cover West Texas to the New Mexico border to the west, all along to the north, along the Oklahoma border to Arkansas, and East Texas as well, where we border up with Louisiana. So we have, a huge amount of geography, though for obvious reasons, our primary focus is right here in the DFW area. So as a Pella sales branch, we serve three different segmented customers. We serve the builder and remodeler in our trade segment. We have a ever-growing replacement business where we sell directly to homeowners on a turnkey basis, and then also commercial as well. So in each one of the segments where we serve that particular primary customer, we have separate sales teams for each of those segments, along with separate sales management as well. And so we measure those businesses in terms of revenue, margin, etc., as if they were three different businesses, because the customer they serve are so different.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And so with that, and and I know one of the reasons we started talking a couple of years ago is really on that retail, the replacement business that you're doing. And I guess leading off of what even Liz had mentioned, being able to grow during COVID, that business is really built around, a lot of the lead generation, again, finding the prospects through canvassing. Is that correct?
That's correct. We were looking for, were looking for yet another lever to pull in terms of driving our replacement business even faster. And of course, all of us in the replacement world think about the funnel and the customer journey that they take. And on the window and door side, we know that can be, in many cases, a longer journey. The average only makes one window and door decision in their life. And so entering into the market frequently, a homeowner may get involved with a fair amount of research and then work their way down the funnel as they gain more information and they seek professional help, etc. But one way that we saw in the home improvement area where some companies were seeing a great deal of growth was really at that top end of the funnel. I like to call it stretching the top of the funnel with literally boots on the street. And so this was how Chris and I and the lead team got connected almost 2 years ago, in that we made the decision strategically that we were going to stand up a separate Canvas marketing initiative that was supported by a dedicated sales force in parallel to our standard replacement sales force.
Got it. And with obviously there's some challenges last year, and continuing even a little bit. I mean, how are you able to continue growth? I'm guessing it was a little bit harder to get people, to get doors answered. How did you adjust? I mean, how are you able to leverage to make sure that you were still getting, keeping that funnel, filling up?
Well, great question, Chris. Because what we saw, especially during the spring, mid-March, when for all of us, our various cities, states, et cetera, started locking down as a precaution to the spread of the virus. Our trade business was largely unaffected. We deal at the end of the market, basically in the premium to lower end of luxury end of the new construction market. So our builders and their clients, it's all built for a client. We really do very little new construction work with spec builders. So that really went unaffected. Our commercial business wasn't affected. From mid-March through April, though, our replacement business, our lead flow certainly was affected because people were concerned about having, a sales rep in their home. And actually, at the end of last March, we actually had to, it was the last week of March, we actually had to suspend our door-to-door canvas because twice in one day, as a canvasser was at the door, and we already knew that in the areas where we canvassed that we were, within the COVID-19 protocols, we were, clearly allowed to canvass, but we were already taking precautions in terms of, even at that point, wearing masks. We even had our canvassers wearing latex gloves at the time. They're fully branded, so it's very visible who they are, standing several feet back from the door. But twice in that last week of March, we had homeowners come to the door and greeted our canvasser with a handgun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So at that point, I immediately had to suspend Canvas because we at no point were going to put any of our team members at risk. So we actually had suspend Canvas from the end of March. We started back up again the first full week out after Labor Day, and when we restarted, we had no issues.
Okay, got it. And so how, when you're looking at, even let's go from Labor Day on, and you're how do you target, how do you figure out what markets you're going to go at? How do you define where you're going to send your Canvas teams? Where are they working? I mean, how are you, because you've got a higher end product. I'd say you want to make sure you're hitting the right markets. I mean, how do you guess get them in the right places? Or are you using data for that, or any metrics on the markets that you're working in, or is it just you guys kind of know the market? I mean, how do you decide where they're going on a day-to-day basis?
A combination of inputs, Chris. First of all, we have multiple data inputs. First of all, what we did is we had developed a heat map that had mapped every single replacement job that we had completed over the prior 5 years, with a priority on those areas where jobs had been completed in the prior 3 years. We also know from another data input, we've got a pretty good idea as to where we are a good fit, because we are have a premium product. We offer a premium high touch solution for the homeowner. So we had really good data as to our home value price point, where we have a really solid sweet spot, and that's in terms of home value, age of home, household income, how long the current homeowner has been in that home. These factors play off each other in terms of when the stars are lining up, when people would be considering upgrading the windows and doors in their home. So we use those data points. In addition, we'll use information every Friday afternoon. I get a detailed update as to where the following week's window and door installations are going to occur. So we also install schedule into our Canvas planning as well, so that while we're in market, and we're probably like a lot of the folks in the call, as our installs are away, we have yard signs up. We will have other signage. Of course, our teams, our install trucks are branded. Our installers are branded Pella as well. So we're really visible. So we leverage that opportunity to actively canvas around those installs as well. But it's primarily data driven. It's very target focused as to where we feel we have the highest batting average to find a customer and a home that's a good fit for our solution.
Got it. And that makes a lot of sense. And so, and really, I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of talk, and with as I've talked to other companies, we did some webinars even I think late last year about there's been a lot more interest, let's say, from homeowners, due to COVID. People are at home. They're they have some more disposable income. They're not traveling, so they're investing in their homes. So it's become pretty competitive, and people are reaching out to maybe different websites, or they'll meet with they'll get an appointment scheduled with your canvasser. They may fill out a form on another website. So it's pretty competitive. And from what I'm hearing, while quality or the quantity of the leads was growing dramatically, there's still people out there that the quality maybe wasn't as strong, or the conversion rates weren't as strong. And especially when you're dealing with a very you have your kind of customer profile built out. I mean, who's going to be a good fit for you. How do you kind of get that information, or get that profile from when you actually talk to the homeowner, to make sure they're going to be a good fit for you? I mean, because it's much more than just, yes, there's the home value and the age of the home. Those are some great metrics to start with. Then how do you really dial in with that homeowner to make sure that the Pella product is going to be a good fit for them?
Chris, what we've done in conjunction, and this is true in the last 5-6 months, is to further support really all of our, not only our proximity canvas efforts, but also our media through our AOR as well. Is we did stand up an internal call center function, if you will, and we added much more rigor to our appointment confirmation process. So before we send one of our sales consultants out, we've actually had a live conversation with that homeowner. And it's, we don't take them through 100 questions.
Sure.
But we do take them through a handful of questions that we continue to work on and improve. We're very process focused, so improving process is one of our mantras. But we're getting better and better at being able to ask questions that help the customer explain to us what their project is or what problem they're trying to solve. So what we're seeing is that a significantly improved rate of kind of filtering out those homeowners that their project or their problem or whatever is just we are not going to be the right solution for them. So we're finding out more and more. We're able to filter those out. We certainly naturally we don't want to waste, if you will, a precious time slot for one of our salespeople. But respectfully, we don't want to waste the customer's time as well.
Exactly.
So standing up that internal function has been a huge help in continuing to promote us, making sure that we're putting our sales consultant into a home with a customer who has a project, a problem to solve that we can be a good solution for. And for example, what we would call an invalid, and that is a sales rep gets to a home and after a few minutes realizes the customer has a project that isn't within our scope of business. Again, because the homeowner, overwhelmingly the odds are they've never done a window and door project. So we get out there and it's actually a broader remodeling project, and they want walls moved or plumbing that are outside of our scope of work. Well, we don't penalize our sales reps metric. We call that an invalid because they're not able to solve that issue. Our internal call center function, we have reduced that kind of invalid by over 2/3.
Wow.
Also been able to, the dreaded, you talk to, your sales rep shows up at the home, they call their sales manager, no one's responding to the doorbell or a knock on the door, what we would think of as a no-show. Mm-hmm. And so here we've got a time slot, we've got a rep who's on the doorstep. This is a very big market area. Who knows how long it took the rep to get on that doorstep, and no one's home. And we've been able to also reduce the number of no homes or no shows by 2/3 because we've put a process in place. If in fact you do show up, we find out about half the time is that the customer is home, but for whatever reason they're on the phone, they just stepped out into the backyard to take the garbage out, something, but they are home. And so our call center then calls back and half the time we are either able to connect and determine yes, the homeowner's home, don't leave, or if in fact for whatever reason life has happened and the homeowner is in fact gone, our call center then they have the challenge, since the rep is out in market, is there another appointment they can pull up and put that rep into a home.
Got it. And I love the way that you say, it is something that you're continually, the process is there, but it's something that continually evolves and you continue to learn from it. It's almost like you're doing your own kind of, the machine learning or AI that we're all hearing about, to continue to hone it in and get it better. And it sounds like that you've seen some real results by doing that. And then also I think, and then having that data, so if somebody's been they've had a couple of no-shows, maybe somebody who's not a fit for you guys, or you don't want to go back out. So having that data accessible can really help from the get-go. And and I know even with most businesses that the whole the discovery process is really it's extremely important because like you said, it's not only you don't want to waste your reps time, but waste the homeowner's time, and hopefully maybe be able to find them a better solution. Um, and with that, how do you train your people to make sure that they're asking the right questions and they're are you are you capturing that data that when they learn things, how do you process that?
Well, as far as the learning as it relates to our call center agents, and again, we're still relatively new at this. Like I say, a handful of months, but we'll typically spend, and most of these folks are coming to us with really solid communication skills, very outgoing. That they haven't necessarily worked in this kind of role before. Well, we'll spend beyond just the tools, things like script and learning how to use our CRM systems. We'll spend most of the first 2 weeks of their training, their employment, in role play formats, and we also may expand on our scripts differently than some, because we help them as they go through their scripts, and we'll continually update what the most common customer responses are, and then we arm them, if you will, with some responses to the customer that we've learned are more effective, and so much of that call with the customer is really helping the customer identify and be able to articulate to us what their project is. Again, we're constantly reminding our people that the homeowner's they're trying to explain what they ultimately want as an improvement to their home, or a particular couple of elevations to the home, but they don't understand necessarily construction language, or certainly window and door language. So so much of our time on the phone is really clarifying, so that we think we have a pretty clear picture of what they're trying to accomplish. And then we also are always educating our call center folks on what our scope of work is, where our core competencies are, and when they're not, because again, out of respect for the customer. And similarly, that type of training, if you will, goes on with our sales team as well, because even if we have confirmed the appointment, we think we have a pretty good idea, and we've noted those in CRM. When the rep gets there, well, once they lay eyes on the project, and the customer further articulates what to accomplish, in their discovery stage in the home, they're going through a very similar process in determining the overall scope of work in the project, and then how we might be able to offer them the best solution that addresses their needs.
Got it. And I like that point of when you're hiring. I mean, that's a big challenge for any business, hiring the right people. How do you find them? And hiring the personality. I mean, I've always felt, there are some things you can teach, there are some things you can't. Teaching a product, teaching a business, you said going through those questions, those are things that that you can teach, whether it be somebody in the call center or the sales team. It's like the intangibles. You said that personality, that engagement. Is that primarily what you're looking for when you're hiring people?
Yes, and that's true both for call center people and for canvassers. Is people who are outgoing, who are personable, because when you're live on the phone and you're taking inbound calls, and you are working over the course of the next few minutes, to help guide that customer to a point where they're describing what they want in a language that we can understand, and again, then ideally being able to position that we're a great solution for them. Similarly at the with canvassers, because Canvas, as I'm sure many of the attendees know, Canvas hours are not traditional 8 to 5 kind of hours. So we end up with a pretty young demographic as a canvasser. It's a great role for students who need more afternoon, evening work and weekend type of work. So the demographic tends to run a bit younger, and if they're outgoing, and we can teach them certainly the process, the basic mechanics, if they can go out and if they can be effective at the door, it's really just excellent experience for a young person that they'll be able to leverage throughout their adult life, because it takes a lot of courage to walk up to a door, knock on it, and know you're going to get from a few seconds to a few minutes to connect with that homeowner.
And that's true, and you have to I'm sure a lot of rejection. I mean, that's always a lesson I think we all learn in the sales world. With one thing we always like to talk about is you mentioned the funnel earlier. We want to build at the top, and keep building value throughout it, and especially when you are a premium product in a very competitive marketplace. In the Dallas market in particular. How do you continue, or how do you train your people to continue to build value at every step? I mean, it really starts with, you say, first your website, or however, that person knocking on the door, that's the initial, you're almost like the first time they see you, that's the first impression. But how do you keep building that value all the way through so that you can make sure that, your price might be higher than your competitors, but obviously, quality that you can focus on? I mean, what are some of the things you point out to continue to build value all the way through the process?
Well, and that's part of the story, Chris, is that when we're in the home with that replacement appointment, we're building value in terms of making sure the customer knows exactly what we do at different points of the process that not all of our competitors do. We speak to how the fact that we are essentially offering a high touch turnkey solution for their project in their home, and what you can expect from us. We also not only with our brand, when we show up, the expectations are higher, and then we try to work to exceed those expectations. So we default to probably, for some people, over communicating. So throughout the sales process, we're talking about the whole process. I mean, even during when we're going through the inspection, and we're inspecting the current windows and doors in a customer's home, and if they've called us out, they probably have some issues with their current situation, whether it's style, energy efficiency, sound, function, etc. And even when we're doing like the inspection, we'll start talking about positioning not only our product solution, because we're fortunate with Pella having such an extensive product offering. There's very few situations we can't solve one of those needs with product, but we start talking about the capability of our team, in terms of that after the sale, we're going to send all of our in our world, we call them order verifiers. Many will call them a measure track for that critical measure. We talk about the fact that that from our business, these folks, first of all, they're all employees of our business, and they all have several years experience. So throughout the entire process, they're going to be dealing with highly trained, very dedicated professionals. Once you order, you do the order verify the order and all that. You get the product ordered, and then there's then there's a matter of weeks before the product gets in and all that. We'll touch the customer, at least a couple of times, keeping them abreast of how the orders, even if we're going to tell them, yep, your delivery's still on time. So here's, so it's going to be, and you give them the date. And within a couple of days after that, we're going to be, again, just want you to remember, we're going to be calling you to set up an install. So it's a very high touch process that we take people through. And it starts from, when we're in the home, because it's far beyond just selling them a product solution, because there's a lot of good companies that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But we know we've been invited as a guest into that person's home to help them solve a problem. And we want them to know, because we're gonna talk about the various professionals that that are going to be involved with their project from start to finish. And we find our customers continue to react very, very well to that. So we explain, we are high touch. We are never going to be the low cost provider. Here's why, because here's what you get from us. And if you're looking for something different than that, then we're going to wish you well, and we're probably not a good fit for you.
Yeah, and I think that's important. Being able to say no. I mean, it's usually in the best interest of both parties. I mean, the way it works out. I love that. You brought up your staffing, and so I had a conversation with another Pella branch earlier, and the newer guys been there 8 years. I mean, having all those employees, people who have been there for a long time. I see on your website, you guys, 2019, 2020 best places to work in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, which is not a small market. You're doing something right there. I mean, how do you keep great people? I mean, and it's a little bit off topic here, but to me, it's so important to, having, establishing your business and staying, as a leader. I mean, what are some, and don't give away all your secrets, David, but, what are some of the things that you guys do to keep people and to continue to grow them?
Well, first and foremost, Chris, we are very sensitive to maintaining our culture, and it's a culture that our team members tell us, that it's an environment that they find challenging, but they enjoy. Dallas-Fort Worth, probably like the vast majority of markets out there, labor talent is very, very tight from that standpoint. Mm-hmm. We've been fortunate in the last 3 years, just to talk in generalities, but we've doubled the size of our business in the last 3 years. With that, we've added substantially to our team member base. 90% of our new team members come directly from a current employee's referral. That's one of the kind of the temperature reads we have, is we track every month in terms of as new people are joining the organization, where did they come from? And we've been around that 90% mark throughout these last 3 years. One of the key reasons that we submitted to participate in the Dallas Business Journal Best Companies to Work survey was we liked the rigor of the survey in terms of what else could we learn from our team member base, because it's third party, it's all anonymous. Mm-hmm. What else could we learn to make our company environment even better? And so we were fortunate. We had about 85% of we've gone through it twice now. About 85% of our employees participate both years. Wow. Both years we've gotten a couple of really good ideas from the team that we've implemented, and but along with that, we found it was informational, but also felt like we're on the right path, because we were also recognized as one of the better companies to work with. But I think the constant attention to staying close to like our cultural values here in terms of our core business is the fact that we continue to have such a high referral rate, as we've been growing very, very rapidly, and 2021, and hopefully for everybody online, 2021 is very, very strong for us. So we're continuing to add people, and we're continuing to add people that are direct referrals from other team members. So we even in the midst the very, very fast-paced environment that we're working in, people still really like to come to work here. And also with that growth, we've been able to give a great number of current team members new growth opportunities as well. So bring people in from different points of life in terms of where they are, and show them a roadmap, and that this is a good company to join, and you can grow yourself depending upon your desire, your interest, and continue to further your skills.
So you're leveraging data to get the right employees as well. See what he did there? You see that, David?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dealing with
So and that actually leads to an interesting, I love talking about those referrals, and that's another way. I'm sure you guys leveraging your data to get the right customers. Getting back on theme here, how are you what does your process look like to get reviews, referrals, those things, to make sure that again, white customers are going to be coming back into your funnel? What does that process look like for you guys?
Well, two different avenues there. First of all, from a referral standpoint, that is a separate lead gen source that we actively track, and we're able to do that because of our CRM system, but also it is very actively managed by our sales management team in terms of setting expectations that you should be getting X percent of your business from referrals, as well as self-generated leads. We track both separately. We have people that that do referrals and self-gens do 25% of their business come lead sources. If someone on the sales team goes 2, 3, 4 weeks without having gotten a referral and or a self-gen, that will not go unnoticed. It's primarily a training opportunity. It's like anything, when someone isn't comfortable, they tend to back away from it. And then for their development, then we'll do a deep dive to make them feel very, very comfortable, because I would say in virtually all professions, it's completely appropriate when you've met your commitments with a client. Perfectly appropriate to ask if there are other colleagues, family members, neighbors, etc., of that individual that you may also be able to help them. We just need people to feel very comfortable and confident when they ask for that. Similarly with reviews, that's one of our core initiatives as well, because we know for consumers, whether they're at Barnes and Noble, looking at a $10 paperback, and they're looking up the Google reviews of the author, to people making major home improvement decisions, automobile decisions, etc. It's very mainstream to look at that, that third-party objective information. So we track our Google reviews by department, because again, our entire process is high touch. So we have homeowners that will write us a review because they appreciated how professional and thoughtful one of our call center agents is, or one of our showroom specialists. So we track Google reviews by departments, on the sales team, on the install teams, and our service teams. We track at the individual level with those functions because they have so much interaction, and we love internally to celebrate and recognize people, who do a really good job in getting us more reviews with higher scores. Every sales meeting, we will turn to someone who's had a good success. We're looking for their story. We're looking for best practices. We do that with our installers. We do that with our service teams. We do that between our showroom specialists because we're determined to continue to drive up our review total. And right now we have a composite Google score of 4.8 out of 5, and we just want to continue driving that. But every staff meeting, we have both a kind of a general management staff meeting and then a senior leadership staff meeting. Everyone knows the number one item that I'm going to bring to those staff meetings is where we currently are in our Google review performance and what we're going to go do next to see if we can stimulate it further.
Got it. Okay. Well, I've got a couple more things here, and Liz, I just want to kind of kick back to you if there are any, just a quick reminder, anyone out there, any questions that you guys have, please feel free to enter those. I don't know, Liz, do we have anything at this point that we want to address?
Yeah, we've got a few questions rolling in here.
Okay.
Since we do have a few more minutes, as a technical reminder to David, I think you're joining us by phone. If you are able to plug into a power source, like your phone charger, it might help with the audio quality a little bit. But all right, Chris, would you like us to go ahead and start with some of these questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's see here. First one I got, one of our callers wants to know, how many employees do you have running your appointment call center, and for how many reps out in the field?
We currently have in our call center, again, I still consider us in startup phase 1 mode, so we currently have 4 people in those roles. We cover 5.5 days of the week, so we cover from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, and then 9 to 3 on Saturdays, to cover as many hours as possible. So we've got 4 people. Those 4 people are currently supporting here in DFW 28 salespeople.
Very cool. All right. So rocking on to our second question, what tool do you use for the heat mapping you mentioned?
That's a great question. And I actually had a member of my team execute that for me. So I don't know the exact software that was used. So I apologize for that. I just thought I was asking a good question and I had somebody take care of it for me. So.
Do they obviously they're pulling the data from your CRM system, your past sale information,
right? From
then running that through. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's lots of those mapping softwares. I apologize, I just don't know the specific one that they used.
Problem that we can follow up with some of that information post-webinar. And reminder for our listeners today, we will be sending out a recording of today's webinar after the conclusion, and we'll include some of that information and any other questions that might come up that you would like answered. So it looks like we have one more question that's come in.
Okay.
This kind of goes back to some of that recruitment and training that you guys were discussing. One of our listeners would like to know, do you run into issues of time and energy spent on sales rep training and turnover rates? How do you combat or find the balance?
Well, let me tell you what we do, I think training, or I think the whole process from recruitment to interviewing to startup training to ongoing training is just an ongoing process for us. We have a standing Monday morning meeting, 2-hour meeting with our retail sales team that always covers the core metrics from the prior week as a team and then individually, and then there'll be specific topics because we created an agenda, so they'll know that we're gonna highlight, let's say for example, a specific product, for an update on just the core product features. We will also have a sales process exercise that everyone gets involved with at that session from a role play standpoint. We will also have our operations team participate in each session. We work really diligently to make sure sales and operations from a fulfillment standpoint are on the same page, and so we do that by making sure they meet every week. So we'll have our install manager, our operations manager, our replacement project coordinators, etc., in the room with our sales team once a week. So as we find opportunities with a given process, we will talk them through right then and there. So that's what the journey we've been on now for more than a year, and we know it has reduced issues that come like downstream during the install process. Those have dropped dramatically, and I know that it's because we're doing a better job communicating between the teams, and we've really created a very collaborative environment from that standpoint. So from the sales type training itself, that these meetings have as always fallen on the responsibility of our three replacement sales managers. We're growing at a rate where we're now adding larger classes, if you will. So we're actually going to in the process of recruiting a specific training position, and what that will mean for sales is that this person will be responsible for basic product training, training on our systems, our pricing systems, our CRM systems, our production systems, and then into details, like how to price and all that. So they'll go through some of those core, like gen ed type classes, if you will, and which will be a real windfall in terms of time as far as our sales managers, where they can spend even more time in the field. But then with the new hires, once some of that core training is done, then the sales managers will be able to primarily just be able to focus on the sales process and teaching those specific sales skills, knowing that a lot of the basic blocking and tackling as it relates to product and install and production and systems has already been covered.
Great. Thank you, David. We do have a few more minutes if there are any other questions or comments our listeners would like to submit. And with that, I believe it is time to announce the winner of today's $50 Amazon gift card. Drum roll, please. Today's winner is Sydney Blake from Vesta Foundation Solution. Congratulations, Sydney. We will be following up with you via email after the presentation, so keep an eye out so you can claim your prize. All righty, and gentlemen, I believe that is all of the questions that have been submitted today.
All right, David, any final parting thoughts that you have that you want to share? I mean, I really appreciate it. I mean, it's been fantastic, and I've learned a lot. And thank you. I really thank you for being so open and candid with us on how you're doing things. But anything else you want to share?
Yeah, well, Chris, thanks so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I know everybody is dealing with there's a lot of work out there right now. I mean, the in-home market is very, very robust, but I also appreciate that means it's more challenging than ever in terms of competitiveness, both in the home and finding talent and being able to raise your voice among all the noise. So I just thank everyone who spent a few minutes with us today. Hopefully, there was something that might be helpful or interesting to you, and wish you the best to deliver an outstanding 2021.
Awesome. Thank you, David. And continued success to you as well.
And thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you, Chris and David, for being here. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate everything, all your help.
All right. Well, to
Thank
our
you so
audience,
much.
if you would like more information about LEAP and Improve 360, let us know. You should see a poll on your screen now. Go ahead and let us know what you're interested in getting some more information about, and we will get in touch with you right away. As I mentioned earlier, please keep an eye out for an email from us tomorrow morning containing today's webinar recording for you to go back and reference as needed or pass along to your colleagues. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, everyone, and we will see you next time.